Okay, so this is our second topic, the principles of inferential statistics. So all throughout this presentation, mostly a concept ng gyapon, no? So we will be discussing about population and sample, the research questions and hypothesis, type 1 and type 2 error, the effect size, statistical power, and then sampling size. So let's start with the population and sample. So these two terms now are very familiar already to most of you, if not everybody. For example, if you wish to study the effect of part-time contracts on the job commitment of women in the Philippines who are in their 20s, what will constitute your sample? Again, we have conditions here. Part-time contract of women who are in their 20s. So what will constitute our sample? So in this scenario, our sample will be the job commitments of some women who are 20 to 29 years old and living in the Philippines and in part-time jobs. So meaning you cannot include whoever you want to be part of your study because we have conditions here. So to 20 to 29 years old only because it's stated in our scenario that we are interested only in the women who are in their 20s. So 30 years old is not included in the study. And living in the USA will not also be included. And full-time teachers in the Department of Education will not also be included, but only those who are in part-time jobs. And our population is the job commitment of all women who are 20 to 29 years old living in the Philippines and in part-time job. So the difference between these two concepts here is that the sample is the subset of the population. So in research, the first thing that you need to do is to determine your population. So asa mo jud ka interested mag-study? And after determining your population, that's the time that you are going to get a sample. And then understanding the sample, here we have table 2.1, which is the job commitment of 12 people. So we have here two columns. So the first column are the people. We have here 12. And the second column are their corresponding job commitments. So which of these are our samples? Are we going to say that our sample is these 12 cases? So kanibang mga tao, no? Tao. So from a statistical point of view, ang job commitment scores are the sample. So the population of the scores you really want to know about is the job commitment score of all Filipino women in their 20s who are in their part-time work. So when we say sample, again, we are not referring to the people, but we are referring to the scores. In this example, we are referring to the commitment. So there are times na you are going to gather more information about your cases. So katong mga gather na to nga information are what we call samples. For example, we want to know their age also. So magdugang ta dinhi og one column for the ages. So the ages here are also called samples. Ang gusto po ta makabalo sa ilahang say specific part of the country they live in. So pwede na po ta mag-add og another column. And that is another sample. So probably ang observation ani is if you're going to conduct a study, the first question is, how many will be your sample size? And then the first thing that will come into our mind is the people from where we are going to collect our data. So the number of people has a one-to-one correspondence between our samples. So mo siguro ingana ang understanding, no? Especially if you are a new researcher. Na pag moingon tag sample size, so ato nang gihuna-huna is ang number of people. Partly, it's correct because when we say sample size, we are thinking about how many samples we're going to get. No? If we want to have 12, for example, 12 job commitments, so syempre, magkuha po tag 12 katao. But again, ang atong hunahunaon, when we say sample, dili na tao, but their scores. So why is this sample population thing important? So sample population is important because in descriptive statistics, we only summarize and communicate the information contained in our samples. And inferential statistics aim to make predictions about the population based on the findings within the sample. So if you are interested in the effect of part-time contracts, just like I presented in the first slide, and then ma-miss out nimo, makahatag ka og dili day part-time nga employee, so nag-answer pod siya. So probably you will have a misleading prediction or conclusion about your population. So your sample must be a representative of your population. So kung unsa gid imong gusto nga population studyhan, dapat your sample must be within that subset. So take note, in conducting research, we take a sample of numbers drawn from a population of numbers. And generally speaking, it is not the population of numbers. No, sorry, it is the population of numbers and not the sample you really want to know about. So that's research. If you want to study about the effect of part-time contract and then you take 12 samples, you are not interested really of the 12. But ang imong yung pinaka-goal is to have a conclusion about your population, about all part-time contracts who are in their 20s. No? So, kana gid ang atong gustong studyhan. But we only take samples. And then, this is another question to ponder. What is it that you will want to know about the population? Unsa gid ang gusto natong mahibal-an in the population? So in the previous scenario, atong study gusto tag to determine the effects of part-time contract. And remember, we use samples in our study, not the population. So unsa man ang ato ang buhaton ani? So for categorical variables, it is the proportion of cases that fall into certain categories. So the proportion of people who are male and female, for example. So ingon ana ato ang gusto, no? We want to study for the population. Naagi hapoy bearing ang categorical and continuous. For continuous variable, it is the central tendency and the dispersion of scores. So muna to ang gustong mahibal-an in the population. So the mean or the median job commitment. So take note here, wala na appeal ang mode no in the example because mode is not favored for the continuous variable. So it's either the mean or the median. Scores of Filipino people and the standard deviation of the job satisfaction scores of Filipino. And I have here a situation where we are going to have this sample population relationship. So in the first column, the information we have about our statistical sample is used to estimate the information we want about our statistical population. So again, nagkuha tag sample, but that uh, statistics, that summary that we can have from our sample is only used to estimate. Kaya ang ato yung pinaka-goal is to make conclusion about our population. For example, job commitments gyapon ni. The mean job commitment of a sample of working French people is used to estimate the mean job commitment of all working French people. And the standard deviation of the job commitment of a sample of a working French people is used to estimate the standard deviation of the job commitment of all working French. So ang clue here is ang sample, which is sum, is used to estimate the population, which is all. So mean for the continuous data, mean and standard deviation, and then proportion for the categorical. So example here is the SPSS output. Ani ato ang makita no pag mag-click na ta and we want to compute the descriptive statistics. So descriptives, that means gusto nato makita ang mga descriptive statistics katong mean. So these are the descriptive statistics. Mean, we have the median, variance, standard deviation, range. You can see also the minimum value here, the maximum value, interquartile range, the skewness and kurtosis. So this is what I've told you, that you don't need to worry about the computation kasi SPSS will give them all. So mauni ang examples no of the descriptive statistics. So we have here the well-being as our variable, continuous or categorical. Okay, continuous. So since continuous, sumulong dili percentage ang descriptives, no? So mean. So the mean statistics is 3.4444. And the standard deviation is 1.0. So again, if continuous ang atong variable, we are interested of the mean and the standard deviation. So if you will say that the mean is 3.44, kay mo na imuhang i-report in your paper, and the standard deviation is 1.0, then you are describing the sample. So kung 20 imong sample or 12, so meaning you are describing that 12. So the central part of your data considering only 12. But if you will use the mean to make inference about the population, then you are entered into the realm of inferential statistics. So dinhi na din mag-start ang inference. So inferential meaning we are going to make conclusion, we are going to make prediction. So mo nang inferential. So unsaon man, no? Again, the mean describes only the sample. The standard deviation is about the sample. But the researcher are not really interested in the sample. Ahaman siya mas interested. The researcher is interested in the population. So, making inference about the population, you can say that 95% confidence sure that the population mean is actually not lower than 1.85 and not higher than 5.03. So, aha man ni siya gikan. So, 95% confident. So, diri ni nato gikuha. Which is also one of the output. This is the inference. Okay, this one. So we have the lower bound, which is 1.85, not lower. And we have the upper bound, not higher than 5.03. So unsa may pasabot pagid ani? What do we mean by 95% confident? Nganong 95% confident ni? What do we mean by this? In the descriptive statistics, sure ta that the mean is 3.44. But in inferential statistics, we are only 95% confident. Ngano man? Ngano kaya nga dili ta 100%? Sa mean kay 100% man ta. No, in the descriptives, we are 100% sure that the mean is only 3.44. Yet in making inference, we have only this 95% confident that the population mean is not lower. Ana pag yun, not lower than 1.85 and not higher than 5.03. So this is an interval. So meaning to say, kung population lang ang ato ang hisgutan, kahibalo ba ta kung pila ang mean? Can we tell what is the population mean given this situation? Sige, so what do you think? In the previous slide, here, ingon tanong nga, the information we have about our statistical sample is used to estimate our statistical population. Sumoto nga, kung mag-make og inference, if you are going to make an inference, ingon ani iyang itsura. So 95% ni because pag-analyze ani, the alpha was set into 5%. So later on, we will talk about alpha. So basaing ani ang inferential statistics. So kay estimate raman, so meaning wala kita kahibalo kung unsa gyud ang population mean. One thing for sure is naa siya dinhi nga range 1.85 to 5.03. So pila man ni ka numbers gikan dinhi sa 1.85 to 5.03. If it is a Likert scale, nakaabot man pud siya og 5 point Likert scale. Nakaabot man siya basig 6 or 7 point Likert scale na. So this is the interval. So atong estimate is naa diri. And that estimate is not 100% pagyud, but only 95. So that's their relationship. This is the formula for computing the confidence interval. But since ihatag naman na ni SPSS, so we will not discuss this. Kung giunsa ni pagkuha. But I have here the questions to ponder. So what will happen to the size of the confidence interval if the sample size gets bigger? So confidence interval, I am referring to the lower bound and the upper bound no nga ihatag ni SPSS. So in our previous example, unsa man to nga confidence interval? Dako ba ni siya or gamay? No? Kaning 1.85 to 5.03. So close ba ni nga interval or dako? And then in this example, 6.77, then 7.7 po ni nga interval. So close ba pud ni siya nga interval? So mo nang interval, no? Then what will happen to the size of the confidence interval if the standard deviation gets smaller or bigger? Kay ngano ako ning gi-question, it's because again, we are interested in the population, but ang atong kuhaon is sample lang. So magmatter ba ang atong estimate? No, kay ang next question is good estimate ba? Because we will estimate the population statistic. So magmatter ba ang sample size? Okay. So consider this example now. So consider the job commitment scores of people in two organizations. Both organizations have the same mean, but differ in standard deviation. What do you observe with the size of the confidence interval? So table 2.2, the job commitment scores of people in two organizations. Ang first organization A, the mean is 5.50, and so with organization B. But the standard deviation of organization B is way bigger than the SD of organization A. Okay. So mo na ning computation, the 95% confidence interval of organization A and organization B. And then, which has a good estimates of the population parameter. So si Ma'am Isabel, she observed no that organization A has a smaller SD. And so the interval is 5.12 to 5.88. Ang organization B mas dako, then the interval is also wider, ang interval. So which has a good estimates of the population parameter? Organization A or organization B? So unsa man ang good estimates, ang gamay nga interval or ang dako nga interval? So kung mag-research data unya dako kaayo og standard deviation, the score is very spread. Na gusto ta mag-make inference about the population, then our estimate then is not a good estimate kung dako kayo ang standard deviation. So nganong naa may effect pod ang sample size? Wala man dai ko example sa sample size, no. Okay. So nganong naaman po effect ang sample size? Di ba this is square root of n? So kaning 30, di 30 ba gid ang naa diri? Okay, 30. So if this number 30 ato siyang padak-on, himuon atong 40, what will happen to our interval? Okay, so mugamay pod nino. So kamo na lay compute ani kung giunsa ni pagkuha. Yes. So kano sa man ta makakuha og good estimates when we are going to talk about sample size. So we can have a good estimate of the population if we have a large sample size. Pero ang large sample size has something to do also with the standard deviation. Remember, to compute the standard deviation, we will get the mean. So ang mean ani naagi hapon siya effect on the standard deviation. So the larger the sample and the smaller the amount of variation we are referring to the standard deviation. Now in the scores within the sample, the more confident you can be that your sample statistic is a good estimate of the population parameters. So dili di ay ta mag-study lang nga gagmay ra gid kay no 12 ra kabuk atong sample size. Then if there is a confidence interval for continuous, naapod siya sa categorical. However, kaning categorical dili siya ihatag ni SPSS. Ang continuous ra iyang ihatag. So example, suppose you wish to know the proportion of women in a large organization who smoke. Then you take a sample of 20 women and find that 8 of them smoke. So that's 8 out of 20. So this suggests that 40% of women in the organization are smokers. However, because you have only a sample of women, you cannot be sure that the proportion, since categorical man, atong gustong mahibalan is proportion. No, you cannot be sure that the proportion of women in the organization as a whole who smoke is exactly 40%. Agree or disagree? No, with respect to the 20 sample, we are sure nga 40% kay 8 man ang nag-smoke. But if you are going to look at the organization as a whole, we cannot be sure nga 40% pod. So ang atong mabuhat is we can obtain the interval with a corresponding alpha level, no, 95% confidence. So this is the formula. So dili na lang ni nato no i-discuss in details. But kuan naman pod ni mostly kung mag-conduct of survey. But given this result, 0.19 to 0.16, is this a good estimate of the population parameter? So 95% gyapon kita magud ang mag-set ani kung pila ka percent. So gusto tang 95% confident 99%, no ano. So thus we can be 95% confident that the actual number of women who smoke in the organization is no less than 0.19 is 19%. Kay kuan man ni proportion in percent. So 0.61 is 61%. So our interval is 19% to 61%. So is this a good estimate? So dako kaayo no. So dako kaayo siya nga interval. So it's not a good estimates of the population parameter. And then another question to ponder. So how can you possibly know for sure that the mean of the sample is the same as the mean of the population? Pwede ba ni nato ma-answeran nga question? How big your statistical sample needs to be before you know that it is a perfect estimate of the population? So going back to the first question, unsaon man gid nato pagkahibalo nga ang mean nga atong na-compute parehas pod sa mean sa population? Is it possible nga makabalo ta? Then how big is your statistical sample? Diba ingon ta, ganina nga the larger the sample, we can have a good estimates of the population parameter. Pero how big is big? Para we can have a perfect estimate. So perfect gid atong gusto. Is it possible? Sige. The answer to the first question is that you never know with certainty. Remember, sample is used to estimate. So estimate ra gid ta. If it is an estimate, then we will never know with certainty. Kay estimates raman. Pwede gid na masayop, no? Because that is only an estimate. And then for the best that you can hope for is that you know the probability that your estimate of the sample statistics is within a certain range. Kay maura man gid ni ang ato ang mabuhat. Probability. So probability means 95%, no? Chance lang natay 95% that the mean is within that range of the mean na adid to ato nga interval of the population parameter. So again, kay sample raman that is used for estimates, we will never know with certainty. Kay puro lang na estimates ang tanan. And then nganong mag-study pa man ta, ma'am. So that's why if you notice na ay mga published articles no nga lahi-lahi sila og findings. That is because research is not perfect. Research is just an estimate. Research is about probability. It's not certainty. So the second question raised is not a very good question to ask. Katong sample size, unsa gyud ay kadaghan ang sample size? It's not a good question to ask since the conclusions drawn from inferential statistical methods are not certainties and truths, but estimates and probabilities. Bisan pag example na akay 100 ka buok member in the population that you are interested in. And then pag study nimo 99 ra ka buok imong gi-include in your sample. So napay isa ka buok tao nga wala na appeal. So that means katong isa ka tao dili gid ta sure no nga if ang minimo is 3.5 kung mo appeal tong isa ka tao 3.5 gyapon. So not certainties and truths but only estimates. So however, with regards to the sample size, authors propose a method for calculating the sample size para ideal daw. Ang mostly known is the Sloven's formula. So this is the formula. Dili na pud ta mag-compute aning mga formula no kay naman naman tay mga online calculator for Sloven. So pwede na ta dito mag-type-type. And then another one is the Cochrane sample size formula. So naagihapon ta ani online calculator. And then si Cohen, 1988 said that the sample size depends on the statistical tool that you are going to use. And that sample size will be introduced later pag naabot na ta dito sa ato ang statistical tools. So according to Cohen, again, it depends on the statistical tool. So if you will use t-test, na siya ideal sample size. If you will use ANOVA, so na po ideal sample size. So the ideal is just the minimum. So when people use inferential statistics, so they are usually concerned with testing hypotheses. That is why we want to know whether something that they are interested in is true or not. So hypothesis testing gid ang mga inferential. So kung mag-t-test ta, mag-hypothesis testing ta, no? So t-test means example for independent, gusto ta makahibalo kung ang mean ni group A is the same ba sa mean ni group B. So that's hypothesis testing. Gusto ta makabalo if the mean of the sample is the same as the mean with the population. That's the hypothesis testing. So, but before that, I'd like to insert this, no, research questions and hypothesis. Because based on my experience as a panel member during mga thesis and dissertation defense, murag natay issue on the hypothesis. Ang research question can be defined as questions in quantitative or qualitative research that narrow the purpose statement to specific questions that researchers seek to answer. Hypotheses are statements in quantitative research in which the investigator makes a conjecture about the outcome of the relationship among attributes or characteristics. It is a statement about the nature of the population, not the nature of the sample. So, muna akong gingon ganina nga in inferential statistics, we want to know about the population, not the sample. So, ang population gid ang ato ang i-judge at the end of our study. So naay mga researcher, no, mga graduate students, na sila yung mga research question nga maski descriptive ilang butangan og hypothesis. So mo nang part nga murag I am kumbaga, force myself no to include this one in this presentation. So there are two types of hypothesis, the alternative, or we call it the research hypothesis, usually denoted by H sub 1, and then the null hypothesis, which is usually denoted by H sub 0. So, usahay kaning sa alternative, H sub A pod ni mga notations ani. So, the research hypothesis is a tentative prediction about how change in the variables or variable will explain or cause changes in the other variable. So, relationship ang ginatanaw, no? Tentative. And then the null is the antithesis to the research hypothesis and postulates that there is no difference or there is no relationship between the variables under study. So it is the one to be tested with inferential statistics. So again, we test the null hypothesis. So ang clue ani is there is no. And then antithesis man, there is no here. So ang kabaliktaran is the research hypothesis. Okay, example, the research hypothesis states that there will be a statistically significant difference in high school dropout rates of students who use drugs and students who do not use drugs. For the alternative, so there will be no. So kani, for the alternative, more positive iyang statement. For the null, is the negative. Equality. For the null hypothesis, there will no statistically significant difference. So meaning, ang ato ang gina-propose for this hypothesis is equality. If it is non-directional, there is no. And then a well-formulated research question according to Bartos, 1992, be stated clearly and in the form of question. So be testable, meaning it's possible to collect data to answer the question. Isa po ni sa akong gaka-notice no, sa mga research question of the thesis proposal. Nga naa sila yung mga research question nga mag-google lang ta, na yung mga answers. So ang research question will be answered by collecting data. So kung kanay imong research question dili na kakailangan mag-collect og data para matubag na, then it is not a research question. And then not pose an ethical or moral problem for implementation. That's a good kay basin og na kay proposal then dili man di ay nimo ma-implement. So just like one of my thesis advisee, gusto siya mag-study dito sa ilahang school about the pernicious error of students in mathematics. Dayon, ang problema, okay na iyang proposal, approve na. Dili man day mo sugot ang ilahang school nga i-implement to nga research. So it poses an ethical murag ethics kung baga, an ethical issue for the implementation. Kaya syempre, dili man po niya pwede ma-implement kung dili mo sugot ang school. And then next, be specific and restricted in scope. So your aim is not to solve the world's problem. So mo nang, you have to define your population asa ra kataman. No, your scope will be contained only in Northern Mindanao, in Region 10 ba, in the entire Philippines. And then identify exactly what is to be solved. It's a good or a well-formulated research question. So I have here example of a poorly formulated research question. So what effect does social media have on people's mind? So nganong poor man daw ni siya nga research question? Because when we say social media, daghan kaayong type of social media. So a good research question must be specific. So it's not a good research question. And then another is people's mind. Unsa ng people's mind? So it's not clear. And to revise this question, to make it a good research question, pwede siya like this. What effect does daily use of Twitter? So naka-red siya. Instead of social media, we have to be specific, Twitter. What effect does daily use of Twitter have on the attention span of under 16? So people's mind, gi-specify siya into attention span. And then, di ba, dapat atong i-restrict ang ato ang scope. Kay kung dili po ni nato ibutang ang under 16, so kinsa man ito i-appeal ani? Apilon ba nato ang 30 years old? No? So that's a good research question, no? Specific, clear, not posed on an ethical or moral issue for implementation, and then most important thing, it's possible to collect data to answer this research question. Another example of poorly formulated research question. What is the effectiveness of parent education for parents with problem children? So, dili gyapon siya clear. So, parent education, not specific. Problem children is not specific. Effectiveness also is not specific. So, unsa nang effectiveness? So, rewrite that question to make it a good research question. It becomes, what is the effect? Ang effect man good, ma-test na to using inferential statistics. Pero kanang effectiveness, dili na siya ma-test og inferential statistics. Probably with qualitative data, pwede. Pero ang effect, ma-test gid ni og inferential statistics. So what is the effect of the STEP parenting programs mo ng parent education on the ability of the parents to use natural logical consequences with their child who has diagnosed with bipolar disorder? Dili problem child. No? So again, effect can be tested through experiments. And the STEP parenting program is very specific type of parent education, and bipolar disorder is a specific type of problem children. Problematic siguro na. And in inferential questions, what is this for? Kanus man ta mag-ask og inferential question. These are our situation where we need inferential research question. Number one, if we want to examine relationships between variables, between different variables, we use inferential question if we try to predict scores on one variable from the scores on one or more other variables. And then compare central tendency of the variable for two or more group of people. Or broadly speaking, inferential questions focus on two sorts of relationships, associations and differences. So again, naalang tayo inferential research question kung ang atong study is about relationship, it's about prediction, and it's about comparison. So, muna akong gingon nga, akong na-notice no, sa naay mga pipila nga mga thesis, naay mga research question nila, nga naa din sila hypothesis because ang inferential hypothesis comes after inferential research question. So, wala sila yung mga inferential research question and then yet naa sila hypothesis. So, let's try to identify which of the following research question needs hypothesis? So again, inferential research question needs hypothesis. Pero kung dili siya inferential research question, wala tay dapat hypothesis. Okay, RQ1 or RQ2? Okay, 1. Unsa man ning 1? Di ba tulo raman ang inferential research question? Relationship, prediction, comparison. Okay, good. So kung naa kay research question nga relationship and then naa ka dapat hypothesis. Question like RQ2, how do students rate on their critical thinking skills? Dili ni siya about comparison, not about relationship, not about prediction. So therefore, if this is your research question, dili ta magbutang og hypothesis. Okay, how about this? RQ3 or RQ4? Okay, good. That's 4. And then state the research and null hypothesis of the following. So again, with the inferential research question, naadayon tay hypothesis that comes after. So we identified RQ1, RQ4 as inferential research question. Then akong gidugangan yata ni RQ5. So kay naaman tay inferential research question, we need to write hypothesis. So what is the hypothesis for these RQs? Okay, let's start with RQ1. Sige, let's state first the null. So, kuha naman yun, ang critical thinking does not. So, for the research hypothesis,
Critical thinking ability does relate
okay.
to student achievement.
Okay, that's correct. How about RQ4? Okay, let's start with the null. Ang research, no, kay, kumbaga, yes ato ang answer, pero ato siyang i-transform in from question to statement. And then for the null, ato siyang i-transform into no. Ano, answer is no. And then transform into statement. Sige daw.
Students do perform better on the analytical portion of the USTP admission test than on the verbal portion.
Okay.
And for the null, students do not perform better on the analytical portion of the USTP admission test than on the verbal portion.
Okay, that's correct. And then how about RQ5? So, ang there is no is the null, and there is the research.
Yes,
So, what
Doc.
have you noticed with RQ1 and RQ4? Diba, ang RQ5, this is common, kanang there is no ug there is. But ang RQ1 and RQ4, talag sa rata makakita og ingon ani no nga dito sa library. Usually atong makitaan is like RQ5. RQ1 and RQ4 are what we call the directional research question. Kana bitang na greater than better man ni diri. Greater than or less than. Dapat imuhang hypothesis mo follow pod on how you formulate your research question. Kung gusto ka nga mag there is no o there is, then i-transform na daan imong research question. So instead of asking, does critical thinking ability relate to students' achievement? Pwede man na nimo i-transform into, is there a significant relationship between critical thinking ability and achievement? So if that is your research question, then your hypothesis will be stated as like there is a significant or there is no significant relationship. So ana lang no, your hypothesis must follow your research question. Okay. So, mo niya to ang mga answers. Pero, ang missing ganina is the word statistically significantly. Kani? Students, students do score statistically significantly better on the analytical portion than murag nagproblema man ang grammar. Ang clue na lang is, you include the word statistically significantly or statistically significant. When you are going to write hypothesis, please include these words. Then there are 4 steps to hypothesis testing. So pananglitan na humana daw kuno taog formulate sa research question, na humana taog formulate sa hypothesis, nag-gather na tag data, then muadto na dayon ta sa atong analysis, which is the hypothesis testing. So step 1, state the null and research hypothesis. So muna na ito ang step 1. Step 2, choose a statistical significance level or alpha. So muna akong gingon ganyan ng anong 95% because kita ang mag-set sa to ang alpha. So kung unsa ning alpha, i-click-click raman ni dito sa SPSS, but we will discuss this in the next slide. So pwede ka magpili sa imong alpha og 0.05. Ang 0.05, this is in percent. Motong remaining nato is ang 95%. If you choose 0.04 nga alpha, so ang iya pong output ani is 96%. So this is the alpha. So an alpha is always set ahead of time. Then step 3, choose and carry out the appropriate statistical test, which will be discussed in the next section. So, mga after sa SPSS na to, no, sugod na ta sa to ang statistical test. And then step 4, make a decision regarding hypothesis. So, pag mahuman na tag-analyze, mag-decide na dayon ta. Either reject our null hypothesis or we fail to reject our null hypothesis. Kaning fail to reject mo ni siyang accept ato ang common nga knowledge about hypothesis. So reject or accept. Pero mo na daw ning bag-o karon, fail to reject, dili na accept. So this is our decision guide. So in the SPSS, atong makita nga output is SIG, SIG. So that SIG refers to the probability value, or we simply call p-value for the analysis. So kanina din, sorry. If the SIG or the p-value for the analysis is lower than the significance level or the alpha, kung lower siya sa alpha, then the result is statistically significant. And so, reject the null hypothesis. So, muni ang ato ang line, no? I mean, decision in logical order. So, moingon tag statistically significant, moingon din tag reject the null, and then conclusion. So again, if our p-value is lower than our alpha, then that is statistically significant and so reject the null. So kung dili po siya, if the p-value for the analysis is equal or more than the significance level or alpha, then the result is not statistically significant. And so, there is no enough evidence to reject the null. Meaning, fail to reject. No enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. So, kanilang duha ang ato ang decision guide. So, if it is less than alpha, statistically significant, reject null. If it is equal or more than alpha, not statistically significant, no enough evidence to reject the null. Suppose you set alpha level equals 0.05. If the p-value is 0.02, then what is your decision for the null hypothesis? Okay, statistically significant, then reject the null hypothesis. So the results to be statistically significant, so reject the null. How about this? You set an alpha level equals 0.05 gyapon and the p-value is 0.17. Then what is your decision for the null? There is no enough evidence to reject the null
The null
hypothesis.
hypothesis.
So, na to siya pag-state, no? And so, the null hypothesis is not rejected or katong no enough evidence to reject the null. Okay, so next topic is the type 1 and type 2 error. So note that in step 2, kanina in our hypothesis testing, we set a significance level. For example, 0.05. So what does this mean? So if you set your alpha equals 0.05, it means that if we reject the null hypothesis, so panalitan, atong findings no is not, our findings is statistically significant and then we reject the null hypothesis. We are willing to accept that there is no more than 5% chance that we made the wrong decision. So kato daing alpha level is the error that we are going to set prior to the analysis. No, if we reject, so it's highlighted here. If you set your alpha equals 0.05, that means if we reject the null hypothesis, there is no more than 5% chance that the conclusion you make is wrong. So in other words, kung giingon ganina no nga, a 0.5 significance level, we want to be at least 95% confident that if we reject the null hypothesis, we have made the correct decision. So kumbaga, the interpretation here, ang 5% nimo nga 0.05 is wrong. No, that's the chance of committing wrong conclusion if you reject the null. And then that's 95% of making correct decision. Or, di ba, equivalent naman na sila. So 5% chance of committing wrong, but 95% of committing correct decision. And that decision is the rejection of the null hypothesis. So kana ra pod nga decision. It's not the other way around. So the table here, mo maning statistical null hypothesis. There are two possible decisions that we can make for the null hypothesis. It's either reject or accept. So remember, the null hypothesis is the hypothesis that we tested. So duha lang gid atong decision ana, either reject or accept. So if we reject the null hypothesis, so the possible error that we commit is the type 1. If we accept the null hypothesis, the possible error that we can commit is the type 2. So what does it mean? Again, kung i-reject na to, pwede ta magka-commit og type 1 error. Kung dili pud siya ma-reject, pwede pud ta magka-commit og type 2 error. So what does it mean? So meaning, bisag unsa nga desisyon ang atong buhaton, always accompanied by error. So as I mentioned also a while ago, there is no perfect research. And in inferential statistics, ours here is just an estimate. So when you say estimate, dili gid na siya perfect. It's not certain and it's not truth. So whatever decision, there is always error. But the amount of error, ang ato ang makontrol. No? For the type 1, sumotong we are going to set the error into 5%. If the null hypothesis will be rejected, then the amount of error that we can possibly commit is only 5%. So I'd like to highlight the word possibly para atong matiman-an nga we are talking about probability, we are talking about chance. So kung naay mga other studies which is the same as our study and they will have the same findings, dili na ta masyak no o dili na ta makurat because it could happen. So the choice of 0.05 as a criterion for an acceptable risk of type 1 error, which is our alpha, and that is the danger of rejecting the null hypothesis when it should be accepted, is a tradition or convention based on suggestion by Sir Ronald Fisher. Kay most of the researchers use 0.05, no, or set their alpha equals 0.05. Walay nag 0.04, walay nag 0.03, so wala. Because, nganong 0.05 yun ang gigamit, this according to Sir Ronald Fisher, this is the acceptable risk of type 1 error. So, si alpha is rejecting the null hypothesis, no, the danger of rejecting the null hypothesis. And then, if we reduce the level required for statistical significance from 0.05, say, ato siyang pagamyon to 0.01, meaning only 1% lang imong allot nga chance for committing error if you reject the null hypothesis, then the probability of making type 2 error na pod or the beta is actually increases. So murag kung baga, inversely proportional ni si type 1 error and si type 2 error. Type 1 error is the alpha, type 2 error is denoted by beta. So kung mugamay ang alpha, mudako ang beta. So kung at imo pong padakon ang imuhang alpha, mugamay pod ang beta. So they are inversely proportional. So again, alpha, type 1 error or the alpha, meaning katong i-reject na to si null hypothesis, possibly makakumita og type 1 error. And then if i-accept si null, makakumit tag type 2 error. So therefore, the choice of 0.05 level of significance represents a reasonable trade-off between the danger of making a type 1 error and the danger of making a type 2 error. So according to Sir Ronald Fisher. So munang, dili ta matingala nganong 0.05 gid ang mga alpha set in most of the studies. So to make a trade-off between type 1 and type 2. But before we are going to proceed, unsa gani ning type 1 error? Sige, manaman ta ana. So example, a researcher concludes, so naana siya kuan ani analysis result that the STEP parenting program is more effective than the parent support group. So unsa man ni? Nag-reject siya og null ani or nag-accept? Okay, so nag-reject siya og null. Kay is more man. Ang null equal. So based on these results, a counseling center revises their parenting program and spends a significant amount of money for the program, no? Kay much better good up. So after the expenditure of time and money, the parents do not appear to show improvement in their implementation of logical, natural consequences. Subsequent research does not reveal results demonstrated in the original study. Although the ultimate truth about the null hypothesis is not known, o magita kabalo kung correct ba to ang original or dili, basta kay mo to yung findings, reject niya ang null. So evidence supports that a type 1 error likely occurred in the original study. So again, unsa man kung if you will be asked unsa nga error ang nakomit, so ang atong tan-awon is ang iyahang decision. So kung gi-reject niya ang null, possible error is type 1. Pag gi-accept niya ang null, possible error is type 2. And then the effect size. So type 1 error and type 2 error, no? So it's simply about rejecting or accepting the null hypothesis. So what is this effect size? Let's consider first this scenario. a large study compared two weight loss methods with 13,000 participants in a control intervention group, so sa control group, and 13,000 participants in the experimental intervention group. The control group used scientifically backed method for weight loss. So ang control, no? So conventional ni scientifically backed methods for weight loss. Well, the experimental intervention used a new app-based method. So muning iyahang innovation. So after 6 months, the mean weight loss in kilograms for the experimental intervention group is we have this 10.6, standard deviation is 6.7, was marginally higher than the mean weight loss for the control group, 10.5, and standard deviation 6.8. So these results were statistically significant. The p-value is just 0.01. Question, if magpa-weight loss ka, will you buy the new weight loss product? So ang mean ani is 10.6, 10.5. Kinsa may mas maayo? Experimental group is murabag marginally higher, mas dako siya og weight loss. Karing 10.6 sa morning weight loss. Ang mean weight loss for the experimental group is 10.6, while the control group is 10.5. And that difference is statistically significant. So, will you buy the new weight loss product? Or kung wala ka nagpa-weight loss, will you recommend the new product to your friend, to your relatives? Do you think? So, aside from being gamay, pero take note, kana siya nga gamay is statistically significant. In other words, kumbaga, mas maayo gyud ang bag-o kay statistically significant. I mean, the difference is significant. Okay ra nino kay app-based. Dili magyud siya mga tambal-tambal. So this is where kani nga scenario, no, effect size comes in. Gamay ra kayo ang difference, which is only 0.1. Kung tambal ni siya nga i-take yun nato, it could be naa siya possible, we do not know yet the effect kay since bag-o man ni, pag something new, baga naatay mga struggle, no, pag something new. So ato lang i-risk ang 0.1 because research shows statistically significant. So it's important also to look at how big is the difference. So although niingon si statistics nga significant, but the difference is very small. So how big is the difference? That is called effect size. So not only the statistical significance is important, but we need also to look at the effect size. So unsa kadako ang difference? Another study here compared two methods of teaching. The control group used the conventional method. So kanang naanda na nato ba as a teacher kung unsa ta magklase, so that's conventional. While the experimental intervention group used a new teaching method. So after 2 months, the achievement mean score for the experimental group is 25 with standard deviation of 8. Was statistically significantly higher with p-value equals 0.04. Then the achievement mean score for the control group na 24 and standard deviation 8. So, will you adapt the new teaching method as a teacher? Kung mag-new teaching method ka as a teacher, unsa may struggle ninyo ani kung pananglitan, ipa-shift mo sa inyong method into another method. Nag-teach na ka on the same subject for 10 years. Dining anak na gyud imuhang way of teaching. That's your method. And then here comes the administration na gusto nila nga uturuhon nimo imong method. How will you feel? Okay, nagitay may anak nga mga struggle. But because the study shows nga the new method is better. No, mas dako mag-mean score ang mga students under this method than the other group. So, mo nilang desisyon nga ipa-change. So, muna na yung mga struggle. But if the mean is like this, 25, ang isa 24 lang, will it be a good decision nga mo shift ta sa new teaching method? Pwede agad ta mag-shift because statistically significant. But after considering all the struggle of the teacher, worth it ba kaya ni? So, mo nang ang question pod, no? So the difference is only 1 point. Worth it ba kaya na ang atong mga struggles? Worth it for our struggles. So munang, it is necessary to consider also the effect size in making decisions, especially kung mag-change ta sa from conventional to something new. We need also to look at not just only the significance or statistically significant level, but we have also to look at the effect size. Effect size is simply a measure of how big a difference or an association is. In the previous example, 1 lang ang difference. No, just 1 point out of 50. Mo tong question, worth it ba kaya? So the effect size, look at the size of differences in central tendency or the strength of the association. And it looks at practical significance. So si Tites, si ANOVA, statistical significance ilang gitanaw, but the effect size looks at the practical significance. So there are dozens of measures of effect sizes. So the most common, we have the partial eta squared, which can also be computed by the SPSS. We have the Cohen's d, wala sa SPSS unfortunately, pero pwede nato ni siya ma-compute using calculator. And then persons are, pwede gyapon ni siya ma-compute ni SPSS. So partial eta squared indicates the proportion of variance in the dependent variable that is explained by the independent variable. So kung mga IVDV ang ato ang study, cause effect, the effect size that we are going to look at is the partial eta squared. So kumbaga, unsa kadako ang effect sa ato ang dependent variable on the independent variable. So look at the partial eta squared. These values range from 0 to 1 and are interpreted as the chart. So below later no after ani ako ipakita ang chart. And then Cohen's d refers to the difference in groups based on standard deviation. So kung groups atong tan-awon between groups, so Cohen's d. Persons are refers to the strength and direction of relationship between variables. So correlation po si person R. And these are the guides set by Cohen's. So our effect size could be interpreted as small, medium, or large. Then the Cohen's d value, wala ni siya boundary, no? Kung unsa iyahang maximum. So if it is 0.2, small. 0.5, medium. 0.8, large na. So, pwede pa niya mo higher than 0.8. Partial eta square, these are the range. And for the person R, these are the range. Wala gihapoy boundary sa person R. From practical point of view, if our effect size is small lang, no, palas kanina, 1 point and 0.1, that is insubstantial and uninteresting. So if, although kung statistically significant ang result sa atong hypothesis testing, but if the effect size is small, so that is insubstantial. So ang new methods of teaching, dili siya interesting no nga mag-shift ta og new methods of teaching if the effect size is small. And whatever experiments nga buhaton, basta bahalag statistically significant na, but if the effect size is small, so dili na siya interesting. For example, if the mean performance of women is 22.7, Then the mean performance of men is 13.4, and the standard deviation of the performance of all men and women is 14.5. The effect size of the difference between the mean is, so mo ni ang formula ni Cohen's d. So kaning SD pod, gikuha na ang standard deviation tanan sa men o women. So subtract dayon, so 0.6. So the 0.6, and I have here a question dahil nganong Cohen's d ang atong gigamit among the three presented mga effect sizes na computation. So again, si partial eta squared, kung effect ni IV on DV, siya ang appropriate. But kani, difference between groups man ni, men and women, so Cohen's d. So 0.64 is considered medium to large. So medium to large, kay 0.5 ram po to ang medium, din ay hara siya mahimong large kung 0.8. So 0.6 man ni, so that means medium to large. So can you obtain statistical significance if the effect size you have found is small? So the answer is yes. So muna niya to ang nakita ganina, no? Statistically significant, but the effect size is small. So because the chance of obtaining a statistically significant result depends not just on the population effect size, but also on the sample size you have used in your research. So as mentioned earlier on the significance adapted level. In the t-test, for example, mao man ni ato ang formula sa t-test, naatari n, no, in the formula. So wherever the population mean is known or not known, naagid ang ato ang sample size. So ang sample size na siya effect of obtaining statistically significant results. So with very small samples, unlikely to obtain ta og statistically significant results. Taas man niyang nasulat, no, but I highlighted the important word. So again, with very small samples, unlikely to find statistically significant. Unang kung maabot na ganyan ng mga 13,000 imuhang sample size, so most likely significant ang result ana. So very large samples likely to find a statistically significant result. So mao pud ni ang mahitabo. So big population effect size. So this is the same scenario in our previous example. So the sample size here is 1,000 or more. And then the correlation is 0.0. The correlation between test and job performance is very small. So correlation is the person R. Very small. 1,000 ang sample size. And the result is statistically significant. So mo ni ang mga possible result. Statistically significant, but the correlation, which is the effect size, is very small because the sample size is 1,000. 1,000 is quite big. And then how do we know that we made a correct decision? Reject or do not reject the null hypothesis. Kanus aman ta makabalo nga correct ni? So the answer is, we never know gyapon. No? Kung correct ba or wrong. As I'm always telling you, inferential statistics is just estimates. It's not about certainty. So kung kana siya nga decision, correct ba na or wrong, we never know. We never know. Basta if we set our alpha equals 0.05, we have that 5% chance that if we reject the null hypothesis, we commit 5% error, no, in making our conclusion. And the next topic is statistical power. The statistical power is calculated as 1 minus beta. So beta, remember, this is our type 2 error. So 1 is certainty. So this is 100%. So minusa nato og type 2 error, that is the statistical power. So beta is the probability of committing type 2 error, again, so that you won't reject the null hypothesis when it is false. So power is your probability of not committing a type 2 error. So ang katong 95% is the probability of not committing type 1 error. So power po ni ang kabaliktaran ni beta. So statistical power is the ability of statistical tests to demonstrate that a difference or association of a particular magnitude would be likely if the null hypothesis is true, under circumstances in which the null hypothesis is actually false. So similarly, the more statistical power you have, the more likely you are to obtain evidence for the alternative hypothesis if it is true. So there's a comparison here. In other words, ang high statistical power means that the results are likely valid. As the power increases, the probability of making a type 2 error decreases. Diba si type 2 error kay mao man ni siya ang probability of accepting error, accepting the null hypothesis. So low statistical power means that the results are questionable. So again, to make our research valid, so ito yung mga kailangan natong tan-awon ani. We need to look at our, noon, si statistical power, apil naman din ang sample size. Basta that's the first thing nga ato ang tan-awon, ang sample size. So the more statistical power, the more valid. So the low statistical power, the results are questionable. Statistical power is comparable to Sherlock Holmes' magnifying glass daw. So the more powerful the glass, the more likely he is to detect fingerprints on the murder weapon if they are there. So statistical power depends on 3 factors. Muna ako naamangin ang sample size. So how to make your results more valid? Dapat dako siya statistical power. And kanusaman mo dako ang imong statistical power. So the significance level must be 0.05. The effect size must be medium to large. So the effect size of the association between population you are trying to detect, muning mga maka-effect, no? And the most important of all, the sample size used in the study. So these are the 3 factors that affect our statistical power. And the statistical power, siya ang magsulti kung ang imong result valid or questionable. So how to make your research findings valid? So dapat, again, dako og statistical power. And how to increase the statistical power? Since affected man siya on the significance level, katong alpha, this is alpha, our effect size, and our sample size. So let's continue. What then are the implications of increasing or decreasing significance level, effect size, and sample size? So kay naaman siya effect on the statistical power. So perhaps the most important implication is that it is possible to identify a variety of strategy for increasing statistical power. Again, we can increase our statistical power. Number 1, adapt the 0.05 significance level. Next, increase the population effect size. So dapat dako po datong effect size. And increasing your sample size. So mo nang 3 important factors to increase our statistical power. Finally, we can effectively answer one of the most questions that researchers ask. No, kanang how many people do I need to include in my study? So how to work out the sample size? So in order to work out the sample size, so you will require in your study, so you need to adapt, balik ra gyapon no kay equation ramang good ni. So, syempre, if one variable is given, then you can compute for the other. No, kung naana na sila nga mga variables. So, adapting the 0.05 level, assuming the 80% statistical power, di ba? Ganina, statistical power is dependent on the three factors. So, meaning, makompute na to ang statistical power based on the significance level, based on the effect size, and based on the sample size. Okay, correct. So karon, kung gusto na po ta makahibalo nga unsa pud kadaghan ato ang sample size. So we can also assume our statistical power para makompute na to ang effect size. Kung gusto na po ta og sample size, okay, so mo na no baliktad-baliktad lang. So the acceptable statistical power is 80%. So mo nang assuming that the statistical power is 80%, and then we are also to estimate our population effect size. The acceptable is medium to large. Mo na kung yung medium to large. So suppose mo ni ato ang i-estimate, we can compute na then the sample size. Pero I will not introduce na on how. Basta these are the factors kay we will employ na lang dayon the computed sample size by Cohen because these are his bases. So 3 ways to estimate effect size. So pananglitan effect size na pud ang ato ang i-estimate. So before you run your research, pwede ta mag-conduct of pilot study. So if your study is in region 10, pwede nga isa lang sa ka-school in region 10 imong i-pilot, no? Mag-pilot study. So the same study, pero ang imong population is smaller. Pwede po, another way to estimate is to estimate the effect size. Another way to estimate the effect size is, so you are interested in whether there is an association between salary and job satisfaction. So to estimate the sample size between this variable, you carry out a small-scale pilot study. So pilot study na gyapon, no, measuring the salary and job performance of 30 employees. Kay pilot man, so gamay lang sa. So you obtain a correlation coefficient of 0.24. This is a small effect size. So you use the correlation of 0.24 as an estimate of the effect size of the population when calculating the sample size. So you will need in your subsequent full-scale study. So para makabalo ka, unsa gid ay kadaghan ang para sa full scale. So note that it is essential that the data obtained in the pilot study are not included in the analysis of the data from the full scale. And then, pwede po ta mag-carry out o review of published article. So, kung mag-pilot ka, study naman gud na gyapon ang pilot. So, kani review. So, which are similar to the one you are proposing to carry out. So, unsaon na to dayon kung nanatay gi-review. So, this is an example on how to review. So, you wish to investigate whether the consciousness of trained drivers are measured with a personality questionnaire is associated with the extent to which they are punctual. So, you examine the literature and find 2 studies that seem relevant. One examined the relationship between the consciousness of lorry drivers and the number of times they arrive late for work over a 6-month period. So the other was concerned with the relationship between the consciousness of junior manager and again measured the number of times they arrive late for work over a 6-month period. So correlation between consciousness and punctuality is 0.33 in the first study and 33 in the first and 0.53 in the second study. So yung imong buhaton, you average this and predict an effect size of 0.43 in your study. So nananapudan kay effect size. So your significance level is 0.05. Your statistical power is 0.8. Your effect size is 0.43. Then compute your sample size. So, ingon ana no, ang how big your sample must be. So, pwede na dayon nato siya matubag. But again, even though matubag nato, we cannot still answer no when ask about certainty. Kay estimates raman ni gyapon, pero at least imong statistical power is big enough. No, medyo reliable na ang imong statistical power. Or Another way is adopt a medium effect size. So, mag-pilot study ka, mag-review ka sa literature, or mag-adapt na lang ka og medium effect size. So, the ideal power is 0.8. The ideal effect size to assume is medium. And I will not discuss 65 people was obtained because the formula for, sige. So, example aning statistics. So, the appropriate sample size for independent samples t-test. So, this is the appropriate sample size, assuming a power of 80% and 0.05 significance level. So, the sample size required is at least 130. So, kaning 130, dili ni siya kailangan gyud no nga 65-65. Idea lang ni. Basta ang total is 130. That's for t-test. So that's the end of the principles of inferential statistics. So akong ginamention sa inyo is ang chapter 1 and chapter 2. Murag mao lang gyud kaayo ni ang mga concepts, and the rest na ay gamay, gamay na lang. So mostly analysis of data. Namoy mga pangutana. Ang gina-reject o accept is ang null hypothesis lang yun, ma'am. Walay appeal tong research. Yes. The answer is yes. Because again, the null hypothesis is the one tested.